Live from the 607, it is the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking sports locally and nationally. Why don't you join in the conversation with the hashtag ODPH? Here we go. And welcome to another edition of the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. I am your host, Ken M. Sitting across from me this week, holding down the soundboard, is the intern himself, Padawan J.
Hello, hello, hello.
Coach Duffy and sound guy galore JR could not make it in this week.
You know, the thing I heard with JR is due to the lack of pitching at the New York Mets major league level, I heard, and I think I might have saw him the other day down near my house. Down near my house, there's one of those, you know, you're driving this fast digital speed things where like you drive and it tells you how fast you are. Mm-hmm. I think I saw him doing like in the movie The Rookie with Dennis Quaid, where like he's got that one scene where he's throwing pitches to see how fast he's throwing. I think I saw Royce doing the same thing, getting ready to like try out for the Mets.
I wouldn't doubt it.
No, neither would I.
Because JR is a super Mets fan, and obviously with the turmoil going on in Queens, he's trying to step up and save his team. Yeah. We'll keep you posted on his progress, but there are more sports stories to talk about this week. Hashtag ODPH. And the biggest story of the week has to be those NBA playoffs.
Ooh, boy.
I tell you, things are going to get very interesting now in the finals.
Say both for the finals and the offseason.
Well, that's what I mean, too, because the ramifications from these conference finals are going to have rippling effects moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to take a look. Golden State and Houston have punched their tickets in the West. The big story there is Chris Paul is finally in a Western Conference final.
So he's finally at the dance, as it were.
This is true. And they have a very stiff competition in Golden State, who just got done beating New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And they're now looking like they're in, dare I say, I don't want to say mid-season form, but
they're clicking at the right time.
Yeah, when they're in the playoffs, that is their season.
Oh, yeah.
The Golden State's built to win now and for a while. So they're now hitting all strides. Houston, this is their moment. This is their window of opportunity.
Yep.
I don't think that they have had a better season like this in a long time to grasp the trophy.
Oh, yeah. The time is now. The window, at least to me, from the outside looking in, I'm no basketball expert. I'm no, Phil Jackson or what have you. But to me, it does not seem like the window is that wide for Houston's, when comparing them to, say, Golden State.
No, because Golden State has been building for this. I mean, if you want to talk about trusting the process like they do in Philadelphia, when Golden State, when Mark Jackson was head coach, was starting to build this team. Mm-hmm. And really you're seeing the payout now. I mean, Steve Kerr has done an amazing job taking over the reins. And, look at their success story.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's right there in the stats. It's right there in the championships. They have done an amazing job out west. So to knock them off the throne is going to take a lot. I think Houston can do it. Will they do it? I don't know.
They on paper, they can do it. Will they do it? Who's to say? It's those intangibles. You can't look at a box score or read a scouting report and say, yep, there's that intangible. It's one trip down the court at the end of game 3 or whatever, and Curry just hits a 3. It's one instance of Draymond Green getting a technical, and Houston goes and shoots and makes 2 free throws that end up being the game. It's the things you can't see coming that aren't on the stat sheet.
It's the questionables that really are going to make the difference. Now, with James Harden and Chris Paul clicking now in their own right, they're going to put up a struggle for Golden State.
So James Harden's going to ball out of his mind,
and Chris Paul has to as well. But they also need some help from their role players on that team because they can't do it just themselves. I sense this is going to be a high-scoring affair in every game. I would say I wouldn't doubt 150s to 148s.
I'm not thinking that high. I'm thinking maybe 120s or in the 130s. 150s like all-star game level.
Well, I think you're going to see something like that because with this, you have a high offense in Houston. I mean, Mike D'Antoni's offense is strictly shoot now.
Let's say shoot the 3, ask questions later.
Mm-hmm. And Golden State, if they're all healthy, you know what they're going to do.
Let's say they've got NBA video game range.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to watch that. I guess if I have to make a prediction, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say Houston in 7.
Yeah, I'm thinking too, just because, Draymond Green, I know in recent months has been talking about how, the one series, I forget what year, whether it was last year or the year before, how it was closer than people thought. That, Houston really had their number, but, Golden State pulled it out. I think Houston's going to pull it out now. They've got the motivation. They've got the X factors with just the way they're playing.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is Chris Paul is going to come in there extra motivated.
Oh, he's going to have the world's biggest chip on his shoulder.
And he needs to, make sure this translates to the court. Because if he wants to be all amped up that he's now at the dance, he needs to prove that he should have the ticket to go to the dance.
Oh, yeah.
And he can't have a bad night. I mean, obviously that it's going to happen one of those games, that just shooting's off. It's going to happen. But he needs to really step it up, and I would say he needs to be the conference finals MVP to get them over the hump.
I think if they win the series, barring James Harden going on like some sort of absurd scoring run, where he's putting like 40, 50 a night or something like that, I think Chris Paul would be your MVP. He's the guy who's never been there before. First trip to the conference finals, and he wins the darn thing. I think he would be.
He needs to, because like I said, this is their moment. This is where they need to be, because obviously in the offseason, they're going to have a chance to maybe add a couple players.
Yeah.
If it all pans out right. I mean, we can all play fantasy GM all we want, but
sure,
for right now, this is their moment. And I think if they really want us to get free agents' attentions, they need to have a great showing in this finals playoff series.
Let's say if they let's just say they lose the series 4-3 against Golden State, they can then entice other potential free agents and go, hey, come to our team. We were one game away from going to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, look what happened with Kevin Durant when he was at Oklahoma City. That was enough to get him to jump ship.
Oh, yeah.
Albeit to the team that just beat you, but that's a whole other ballgame. But that's what we're taking for the West. Now, the East is a little more tricky.
Yeah, because I think we both said it. Neither of us had Boston getting this far at all.
No, obviously with Kyrie Irving going down with injury.
Gordon Hayward down.
They're finding a way to do it. And it is crazy to watch because statistically, on paper, they shouldn't be matching up as well. Obviously, with your lead scorer being out for the playoffs.
Yeah.
But Brad Stevens is coach of the year in my book.
Despite not getting a single vote from any of his peers.
Yeah.
Which is a travesty in my mind.
He wins a parlay, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Because the job he is doing, and he is winning games, and he is out-coaching the other team to get them this far.
I would say when you have a quote-unquote big two, in Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving, you lose Gordon Hayward at the first game of the year. I'm pretty sure it was the first half of the year, All right, not great, not the worst thing in the world. You can work with Kyrie. Kyrie can make it work. And then you lose Kyrie. And he's just got the team as far as he went, which I think other than diehard Boston fans, I don't think anyone had him getting this far. And for, he's my coach of the year. Good Lord, you're getting the team that far where you miss Gordon Hayward, your big acquisition of this past offseason where he plays all of maybe a half. I could be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And then he loses Kyrie Irving. You look at that starting five they field and then the bench, and you go to any, casual or diehard NBA fan and go, you show them that roster and go, you're going to start an NBA team with any of these guys? I guarantee you there's not a person on that team I'd start an NBA team with.
No, I mean, it's one of those tricky factors that the team is buying into the coaching and the system, because this goes back just to the fundamentals of basketball. If your team is all in and everybody knows their roles on the team, and obviously you lose your biggest weapons, people are stepping up to make up the difference. Rozier is playing out of his mind right now. Tatum is absolutely destroying it, and Al Horford has been carrying them the past couple games to close it out against Philly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to see those guys light up and do what they need to do is remarkable. Not saying it was unexpected, because, if you talk to any Celtics fans, they've been talking about them all year.
Oh, yeah.
But just to see how they're taking over, especially because Philly came in with a lot of hype, and they have a very young team.
Oh, yeah, they do.
And there's nothing to be ashamed about losing their series now, because, like I said, they're very young. This is the first time they've been in a playoff series in a long time, if I'm not mistaken. But this is something to grow from for them moving forward. And obviously for Boston, they got the opponent they wanted, albeit, though, I'm going to get driven nuts this whole finals series between Boston and Cleveland, because no matter what Cleveland does or no matter what Boston does, Kyrie Irving isn't there. That's your headline.
Yeah, if Cleveland wins, the other side of the argument is going to be, yeah, but Kyrie wasn't there.
Yeah.
And if Boston wins, it's the same thing. Yeah, but Kyrie wasn't there.
Yeah, Kyrie wasn't there, and we still beat Cleveland. So that'll now add drama because Cleveland absolutely destroyed Toronto. There is no other way.
Oh, yeah. They just, whoa, boy, they put a whooping on them.
And if you're the Raptors, I think you got to just blow that team up and just start over.
Speaking of the Raptors, the crazy thing to me is we mentioned, a couple minutes ago that, Brad Stevens wasn't getting Coach of the Year. Dwayne Casey of the Toronto Raptors did get voted on by the NBA coaches as Coach of the Year. He could be fired.
And that's ludicrous. He kept that team in that playoff series.
Oh, yeah.
It's not his fault. I mean, he draws up the plays. It's just, for whatever reason, LeBron got in their heads.
Oh, yeah.
One player completely got in their heads, and they had nothing to respond to.
No.
And Casey should not lose his job. And if he does, his phone will be lighting off the hook with calls.
What team needing a NBA coach right now wouldn't want the Coach of the Year as their head coach?
No, but I think they need to see that job right there that he did in Toronto.
Oh, yeah.
And just how he has brought them to prominence in the East. It's just for whatever reason they can't beat LeBron.
Yeah.
They might be able to beat Cleveland.
It's like 3 years in a row they've lost to LeBron?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord.
And that's what I said. That whole team, I would dismantle and start over again. I mean, if you're going to get rid of your coach that has done this amazing job.
Let's say made gold out of, absolute you-know-what.
Yeah. And you're gonna fire him, which is stupid.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
absolutely.
It's absolutely stupid to do that. Casey deserves a better job if they do fire him. And I mean, if the Knicks didn't make their hire, I would be screaming for him to come to New York.
Oh, I would be too. That's insane.
Yeah. But if he does. Now, as we're recording, he has not been fired yet. I hope he does not.
No.
I can't reiterate this enough, but I think they do need to – they got to start making some moves out in Toronto.
Oh,
I don't know. Start making some trades. Like I said, you got to blow that team up and start over. Because if LeBron stays in the East, you're going to have the same problem next year.
I genuinely think LeBron's going to go to Philly.
See, we'll get to that in a sec. Because now with Cleveland getting there, the question is, okay, if LeBron wins this series and they get to the finals, does he stay? Because now your headline is going to be LeBron versus Golden State, round 3.
Yep.
And during this season, when all their big moves and player acquisitions happened in the course of what?
Like 30 minutes.
Yeah. When that team got together, didn't they face Golden State and didn't they beat them?
Yep.
And everybody was screaming, oh, now they got a chance to beat them. No, the media went crazy. So now, hypothetically saying, because obviously, Golden State has to get there. If LeBron gets there and he wins a chip, can he leave Cleveland? I've never heard of that before. If you win your championship and then take off.
It could happen.
It could happen.
I wasn't fully on the Philly train of thought until I saw a video from Fox Sports and Chris Broussard was on the Colin Cowherd show. And he made a compelling argument that makes a lot of sense to me. He made the argument that hypothetically LeBron goes to Philly. Mm-hmm. Philly is already very close to winning a championship as is. Put LeBron on that team, they will win a championship with that team. LeBron is still playing at a level unseen in NBA history, I would argue. At the age he's at and the years he's played and the mileage he's logged, to be putting up the numbers he's playing is just absurd. So you have LeBron in, still the prime of his career. They can win a couple championships. He sticks with that team. You're going to have the young guys who are coming up, still learning, still developing, hitting their prime. You're going to have them hitting their prime and playing in their prime when LeBron might start, sliding down the backside of that hill. Could still win a couple championships there. That to me, he's explaining this, and I encourage you to go find out the video. It's on Facebook. It's a very compelling argument.
Actually, I'll even one-up you. We discussed this on the podcast last October.
We did.
With Coach Duffy. I believe it was his first episode. So you can go through our backlog and find the episode. I actually mentioned that too, because LeBron at this stage, if he does leave Cleveland, hypothetically, like we said, all depends on how this series ends up.
Yeah.
If he leaves, if he's going to stay in the East, he either goes to Philadelphia, where, as Pat just put it eloquently, and I said it too, he has a win-now team.
Well, he's
ready
got
him.
he's got to win next couple of years team.
Right. Or, and I'm going to throw this out there, I don't think it's going to happen by any means, but if he goes to New York.
That'd be awesome.
And he goes with Porzingis, and they're going to have to make some moves too, but I believe that their new head coach is very good friends with LeBron.
So I've heard.
That might be something enticing to him to go there, because if he wins in New York, he writes his legend.
Well, I think it's also he likes playing in New York. I mean, anytime he plays the Knicks, you hear him talk about how he likes playing there. It's the mecca of basketball. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's usually the same spiel, but he loves playing there.
Yeah. No, and I could fully see it. I could see that happening, but I think if he's going to stay anywhere other than Cleveland in the East, he goes to Philly.
This would be the one time, like I know, you look at players in various sports in the past coming to New York, and can they handle the limelight? This is one guy, he can handle it perfectly fine.
Oh, this would be fitting for him because, I mean, like I said, if he wins in New York, he writes his legacy.
Oh, yeah.
If he wins a championship in New York, Jordan gets replaced. I hate saying that as the GOAT.
He's definitely in the conversation. I feel like this is, pick your favorite kid for whoever you're talking to.
No, but if you think about it, he's won a championship at every team that he's gone to.
Yeah.
And he's gone on some very bad teams that have turned great.
That's true.
It is what it is. But getting back to the series, though, is Boston versus Cleveland. I'm going to say the Cavs are going to pull it out in 7-2. I think these are going to be long series. I think they're going to be a lot closer than people think. But I wouldn't doubt Boston and Brad Stevens coming up with a plan to slow down LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
Not stop him, slow him down. And then it's going to depend on if Kevin Love shows up and J.R. Smith shows up.
I doubted the Cavs against the Pacers. I got burned. I doubted them this last series against the Raptors. I got burned. I think I've learned my lesson. I'm Cavs.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be close. And like I say, I don't see this being any sweep by any imagination.
No, this is going 6 or 7.
This is going 6 or 7. So we could be completely wrong. And then, obviously, after what happens there, who knows?
Yep.
Because he might be looking to go out west. I've even heard some talk of Kawhi Leonard for Kyrie Irving. Straight up trade.
Oh, jeez.
I've heard some noise about that happening lately.
That'd be crazy.
In the offseason. So there's going to be a lot of ramifications coming from these finals. Because if some team loses, which obviously 2 are going to lose out of the 4, they're going to make some moves in the offseason to get back and go over the hump.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know what you think. Hashtag ODPH. We want to know. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Mike C. from I Am Horror. You're listening to the ODPH, the most killer podcast on the planet.
Coming back for a second segment on this week's ODPH, and we got to talk a little UFC MMA action this weekend.
Oh, boy.
There is a fight card, UFC 224, live Saturday, May 12th, 2018.
Oh, yeah.
And it's definitely got some fights on there that are definitely worth checking out. The 3 that are standing out to me is obviously the title fight, Amanda Nunes versus Raquel Pennington for the bantamweight women's title. Nunes 15-4, Pennington 9-6. Gonna definitely be an interesting fight,
to say the least.
Yeah, I do like Nunes in this, even though I am pulling for Pennington because Pennington has like the Rocky story.
Oh, yeah.
Is, came back, has been on a tear lately. But Nunes, I just think her striking is just going to take her over the top for this one. But I could be wrong. I mean, it's going to be a heck of a story if Pennington wins, but I don't see it happening. And if Nunes wins, what's next for her at 135, or does she jump up to 145 and fight Cyborg? That is a rumor I've been hearing.
Ooh, that'd be a fight.
Well, it's definitely a super fight for Cyborg. I think that now, obviously, Cyborg is dominating the 145 division.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to take somebody to come up there and really make some noise. Nunes could definitely make some.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be very interested to see how the fight plays out. Because right now, I just think it's Cyborg's division until she decides to say when.
Say it's Cyborg's world and everyone else just lives in it.
Pretty much. But it's not to say that they're not going to get some contenders in there for her. But Nunez would definitely be one, but obviously she can't look past Pennington. And at Pennington, she can definitely throw some hands.
Oh, yeah.
So I expect some fireworks on this one, but like I said, I think Nunez is going to win. I'm not going to say decision, but I'll say stoppage in the fourth. I'll give you a prediction on that.
Yeah, probably same thing.
The co-main is Jacare Souza versus Kelvin Gastelum.
Ooh.
At 185.
Interesting.
Now this one, boy, I don't know. This one is going to be, I think, your fight of the night.
So this one is a coin flip when Bruce Buffer's doing the announcing.
I would say so. Because the one thing I know about Jacare is if he gets a takedown, it's done.
Oh, yeah.
Turn off the fight because it's going to end very shortly after.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, Calvin has been a surprise at 185. He's winning a lot of fights that I thought when he was coming up to that weight class, he'd have some trouble with.
Oh, yeah.
But he has definitely shown that he can hang at 185.
Yeah, he's definitely shown that and then some.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I know beating Bisping was definitely a feather in his cap.
Oh, yeah.
Though it was right after the GSP fight, so you
yeah.
You want to say an asterisk by it, you can. I don't. I mean, a fight is a fight, so if they're medically cleared and ready to go, so be it.
Oh, yeah, and if Bisping didn't feel he was ready to go, he wouldn't have agreed to the fight.
Exactly. So for Calvin, though, I think it's going to be a heck of a challenge. I just think, though, like I say, if Jacare gets him to the ground, it's done.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think
you're going to slice a pizza, go get another slice, make a run to the bathroom.
But like I say, there's few people that you know when it goes to the ground. Damian Maia's another one.
Yeah, that one comes to mind.
Yeah, that the fight is pretty much over. Now, is it to say Calvin is going to be, rolled over? No, I don't think so. No. I could see this going to the third round. And I'm going to say I'll go with Jacare by submission in the third. But I don't doubt Calvin pulling something off.
I'm saying don't sleep on him.
No, definitely not. Like I said, I don't see this going to be a walk in the park by any means.
No.
And the third fight that has really kind of piqued my interest on this card, and I guess is just for the old school fan in me, Vitor Belfort, and what I'm presuming is his last fight. I've heard, but
I think he said this is his last fight. This is coming out of Vitor's mouth.
Yeah, against Lyoto Machida. Now, Vitor is obviously on the back end of his career.
Well on the back end.
Yeah, and there's no shame in saying that. It's just, eventually a fighter's body gives up.
Father Time is undefeated.
Mm-hmm. And I think in Vitor, he's got a long and lengthy history, nothing to be ashamed about. Going into this fight, though, against Machida, he's on the back end of his career, too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if this fight was 10 years ago, I'd probably be really amped up for it.
There'd be a lot of guys amped up for it.
But for the nostalgia factor for me, man, I'm going to take Machida in this one, unfortunately for Belfort, because it's going to be his last one. But I think this is going to be an entertaining fight nevertheless.
Yeah, as much as I'd like to see Vitor get one more win, go out on top, get one last interview with Joe, and he's going to get an interview with.
Oh, he'll get an interview.
He'll get an interview regardless. But I would prefer to see it. Him getting an interview after a win. And do the ceremonial, take the gloves off, leave him in the octagon, and walk out. Walk out on a win. It'd be great. I just don't see it happening.
No, I don't either. But anything is possible. That's the beauty of watching MMA, because you don't know. Anybody that looks great on paper, shows up in the cage and doesn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a quick
you
night.
Do 1,000 simulations, and it's the one you didn't predict.
Exactly. But it's a very interesting card to watch this weekend, so you can check it out on pay-per-view or however you watch the UFC. More information, UFC.com. But there was another news story that broke, too, since the last podcast. Pat, you want to fill him in on that?
So Dana White went on the UFC Unfiltered podcast and revealed that he is working on a fight between Georges St. Pierre and Nate Diaz.
At 155.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess my initial reaction was, you mean 170?
Well, your first reaction when I told you was, what?
Well, yeah, because I think that was when it was in my head, and then I think what I said was, what? Because GSP has never fought, to my knowledge, at 155.
Not to mine either.
And I know that he just fought at 185 to fight Bisping for the middleweight belt. So I guess when I'm hearing about this, I find it kind of puzzling. And I think there's a couple different reasons for this, because obviously GSP dropping weight at this stage in his career is to go to a lower division. It's peculiar.
A little bit.
So if he's dropping down there, Nate Diaz can make any of those two weights, 170 or 155. Yeah. He's done both.
So he does it in his sleep.
Yeah, so that one's a little kind of, not as shocking.
No.
But GSP dropping down there at 155 and especially fighting Nate is a very peculiar matchup. And what I sense is the reason is they might be secretly hoping GSP beats Diaz.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a certain other 155 contender who is not on the main card just yet. Or he is on the main card when he decides to fight. But he doesn't have any lined up opponents. He got himself in a little bit of trouble.
John Jones?
Nope. Conor McGregor.
Oh, I might have heard of that guy.
And I think that maybe they want to try booking a super fight there. If he gets past Diaz.
I could see it.
Now, I guess for me, I'm kind of torn. It's a name, but I also am going, okay, well, Conor completely destroyed your New York card by acting like a wild man.
And tried apologizing.
Yeah, to a couple fighters on Instagram and got the non-safe for work response back. As he should. I'm sorry. I understand that it was a moment of anger, but you also injured fighters.
Yeah, you cost fight. Now, ultimately, they were paid, but you cost them an opportunity. And, when it happened, a paycheck, obviously, they got paid later. But in that moment, they got injured. They weren't fighting.
Yeah, so I guess now you're getting, possibly rewarded with a main event super card. I don't know what exactly I think of that because, like I said, for me, is where was the punishment for the crime?
I don't think it happens just for that reason. I don't think, regardless of how I think this fight it's a money fight. We know Nate wants money fights. He will fight whoever will step up, but it's a money fight. I also think, and I can't take credit for this stuff, this is one I read online, I think this is an opportunity for GSP in this stage of his career to, say he hit 155, that he dropped down and he was able to do it.
Yeah, but if he's able to do it, just to say he fought at 155, and unless it was for the belt, I can't really see the ambiance. Not saying your argument's, or your point's wrong, but for me, I'm just going, okay, you were the king at 170.
Yep.
You went up to 185 and won up there. Great. To drop all that weight again to go back to 155, unless you're going for a belt, unless you're going to fight Khabib.
Has anyone ever won in 3 divisions?
3 divisions, no. To my knowledge, they've never won 3 divisions.
So that could be maybe what he's going for, is to say, hey, I'm the first and thus far only and this is obviously if he wins, I'm the first person to ever go fight in 3 divisions and win.
Yeah, as far as
to me, that is an impressive feather in your cap, more so than being a 2-division belt holder. 2-division belt holder is impressive regardless. But to say you fought at 170, 185, and 155 and won in all 3 divisions, to say you were able to move that fluidly.
Well, let me correct you on that because I'm thinking for the belt.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm saying for belt. No, if you want to talk about multiple fighters to go to different weight classes, Kenny Florian comes right to mind.
Okay.
45, 55, 70, and I believe 185 too.
Okay.
BJ Penn has done it as well. But I think to win at 3 divisions, to win the belt.
That could be what he's going for.
Which, I could see, but I also wonder, though, too, to go against Khabib right now at 155, and especially for dropping that much weight to go fight him. It's a hell of a grappling contest if that is what they're trying to build for. But for me, I don't know if I see it. I want to. Don't get me wrong. I want to see that fight.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm kind of struggling with it a little bit.
I'll say the thing I kind of draw back to when GSP first announced he was coming back, we knew he wasn't doing this, glass half full. This was glass entirely full. My thinking is that because if Dana White's going on record, and you can go online, find the UFC Unfiltered podcast and listen to him say this, if they are making this fight, GSP is okay with it. And something tells me that this isn't something that he's been trying recently, that me thinks he might be walking close to that weight.
No, well, I'm sure he is testing if he can make the weight cut. I think
if this, like I said before on previous podcasts, GSP does not do things without trying them and knowing 100% he can do it.
No, he is one of the most intelligent fighters to be doing MMA. Without question.
Yeah.
So I mean, sure, he's taking his time to see if he could do the proper steps. I guess just for me, I see the fight. I mean, there's a lot of backstory because obviously when he fought Nick Diaz, there was a whole lot of drama there. So to fight Nate, and would it be the same kind of fight? I don't know. There's a lot of variables that can happen. Then what happens after that?
I'll say I first read about this fight potentially happening, and I started laughing hysterically because I couldn't care less about the outcome of the fight or how it goes on. I'm just in it for the trash talking.
Well, see, you won't get that much on GSP's side. He's not a notorious trash talker, but just to see Nate back fighting, that's what I want to see.
GSP won't be like doing your stereotypical trash talking to him. It'll be subtle and it'll be like, eloquent or polite, but like read between the lines and you'll see what he's saying.
No, you could definitely see that, but I think for me, the Diaz fight I want to see is Nick versus Connor.
Oh, Lord.
That's what I want.
Oh, Lord.
Nothing against Nate because I think Nate should be in the top 5 contender range for 155. I'd love to see him fight Poirier, to be honest with you.
Ooh, that'd be good.
That's who I want to see fight. But let us know what you think of the whole GSP dropping to 155 and fighting Nate Diaz idea. We want to know. Hashtag ODPH. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Brian Wolf from Fair City Fire. You are listening to ODPH. The greatest podcast in Binghamton.
Woo!
Hot lips touching, cool thighs feeling, shudder running up, her spine spinning, long day to a long night, but I'm not stopping till I get it right.
Coming back for segment number 3 on this week's ODPH, and there's some baseball news to talk about. Pad, what you got?
Boy, oh boy, has it been a busy week in the Major League Baseball season. If you are a fan, of course, Ichiro Suzuki retired, didn't retire, not quite sure. One person says retired, another person says he's not. Either way, he will not be playing for the rest of this season. He will be moving to a front office role as special assistant advisor with the Mariners. Basically, he's going to be doing everything he normally does, hanging out with the players, stretching out on the field, warming up, but he just won't be playing. So, his agent says he's not retiring, but the way it was getting treated the day it got announced was he was retiring.
Yeah, which, I mean, at this stage, how old is Ichiro?
What, 44?
He's up there.
He's up there in age.
Yeah, and there's nothing really left for him to really prove it on a major league standpoint.
He's done it all. He's won it all short of the World Series. Been a staple in the majors ever since he came over from Japan. 3,000 hits. He's a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about it. It's just, when's he gonna retire?
Yeah, and players know when it's time.
Yeah,
as long as they have the benefit of retiring on their own terms.
Yeah.
Sometimes injuries take hold, and that's a different story. But in Ichiro's case, definitely has a Hall of Fame type career.
Absolutely. Between his stats in Japan and over here in the States, absolutely.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt to see him in Cooperstown very shortly.
No,
whenever the official mark of his retirement is.
Yeah, I was say because for those who don't know, when a player retires, it's then 5 years after the player's retired when they are then eligible for Hall of Fame voting. If memory serves, Mariano Rivera and Andy Pettitte are due this next voting cycle next year.
I believe so. I know. I'm.
Which, if you're Yankees fans, start booking your hotels now. It's gonna be busy.
And speaking of those Yankees,
woo baby,
hottest team in baseball.
Yup,
without question.
Anyone who says anything else, try again.
Yeah, because 17 for the last 18.
Yep.
Mowing down Houston, Cleveland,
Anaheim, Boston. They got one more game as we record tonight.
But after last night's come from behind win.
Come from behind twice, if I'm not mistaken, because they were down 2-1, tied the game, and went ahead. Down again, tied the game and went ahead.
I didn't tell you, just clutch hitting.
Yeah.
That's what kept them in. Gardner hitting the 2-run triple, I believe.
Yeah, 2-run double. It was a double or triple, yeah.
And then Judge coming and cleaning out the bases right after.
Bomb.
The Yankees are having that kind of weird look to them. that they're finally gelling. Stanton is coming around because now we are in May. The first month jitters, I guess, so to speak, are off.
And you want to know the crazy thing? I was listening to the radio broadcast as I was driving home last night, and the thing that blew my mind is this is how well the team is doing. At one point, he might still be. Didi Gregorius was 0 for his last 15. I hadn't heard about it because they're 17 out of 18 now. 17 out of 18 now. You're not hearing about it because everybody else is hitting.
No, I mean, everybody is clicking now at the right time. And they've put together a heck of a run. Because I remember after the first week, everybody was anointing it was, Boston and the Mets locked in for the World Series?
Yep.
And now teams are coming back to earth.
I'll say the Mets are falling off. The Red Sox are falling off. The Red Sox will bounce back. It's the Boston Red Sox. If you're counting the Boston Red Sox out in May, this must be your first season watching Major League Baseball.
Exactly. No, I mean, but that's the whole beauty of baseball because nobody gets trophies in April.
Or May.
I mean, this is going to be a very long season.
Without a doubt.
But for the Yanks, I mean, there's a certain excitement in the Bronx that hasn't been there in a while. I mean, there was last year with Judge.
Oh, yeah.
But now Judge has help.
Yeah, you go back and you find the video online of when Gardner hit that, 2-run double or triple or whatever it was. And I was watching the game live, and I know you were. That stadium was loud. And you watch the replay of, there's about a minute-long replay on the MLB app if you have that, and I'm sure it's the same video on their website. But they cut to a replay where Gardner hits the ball, and then it's like, the shot from behind, a cameraman behind home plate or something, showing the runners running it, and the camera is shaking like it's in the middle of an earthquake.
I mean, when the Yankee Stadium is clicking and the Bronx fans are going nuts, it's always crazy. It was Gardner with the triple last night.
Yeah, and I know you went to a game last year where you saw Judge hit a home run. And I remember you telling me how loud it was.
Oh, yeah. It was. You knew that obviously nobody's going to replace Jeter.
No.
But for the face of the current Yankees, it's Aaron Judge.
Without a doubt.
So when he came to bat and he hit a home run, that place came unglued. I can only imagine how it is in the Bronx now.
Oh, my Lord, yeah.
Because now it's not just him. I mean, I would say this is probably the closest to you're going to see the stadium and fans react to when it was Williams, Jeter, and company there. Posada,
Tino, Paul.
Yeah, the whole late 90s, early 2000s team.
Mm-hmm.
That is probably the closest comparison, just to hear the noise and hear the fans' reaction, and the swagger is back in the Bronx.
I'll say, and I know I said this to you, and I posted it online last night. This is the first time that I can remember in the last number of years that it's been a Boston Yankees series, and other than boo, it was the first negative chant I heard audibly chanted at Yankee Stadium during a Boston Yankees game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first time in a long time because now both those teams, I mean, Boston and the Yanks are always going to be baseball's greatest rivalry.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you can argue some other teams, but there's no more that is that as intense.
No.
So now it's kind of seeing it really kind of pick up steam again is a great thing, I think, for fans to watch.
Oh, no, yeah, because you look back and when you talk baseball rivalries and just baseball past, I mean, the 2003 series against the Sox in the playoffs is going to come up at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
The Don Zimmer incident, the Boone walk-off home run, just everything. Like, it comes up so frequently because it's one of those classic, iconic series.
Yeah, there's so much history there that now, obviously, when both teams are really clicking and there's really talent on both sides of the ball, it's going to make for fun baseball to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And especially now that it's an early season and how Boston came out of the gate hot. And there's nothing saying that they're not going to still be in the race moving forward.
No.
But I'm telling you this, the Yanks picking up that steam, they're answering a lot of early questions because I know with Aaron Boone taking over the team there from Girardi, there was a lot of questions. I still have questions. I mean, I'll even tell you in the baseball preview, I said I want to see how he handles the bullpen and pitching rotation. So far, so good.
And bullpen's been a little spotty. I think the biggest thing that surprised me out of the starting rotation has got to be CC Sabathia.
Oh, CC's playing with a chip on his shoulder because I think if they win the series, he's out.
I'll say, as we record, he's pitching tonight against the Boston Red Sox, and as we record, he has a 2-0 record with a 1.39 ERA, which if you would have told me that in like February, I would have said you're out of your gosh darn mind.
Well, CC is stepping up to the challenge, and I think for him, he knows that what kind of team they have this year.
Well, and I think it's like David Cohn said, I think it was his last outing. It took him a while, and it took him a little bit of learning, but he's finally learned how to change from, I'm not just a fastball, overpower guys pitcher anymore. I've got to get a little more creative.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. So as they're stepping forward, the Yanks, are making an impressive run. I'm not even awarding them the chip now.
No, it's
still a lot of baseball.
They made a similar run at the start of last year, and they got close, but they didn't get it. Other notable things: Albert Pujols got his 3,000th hit, so congratulations to him. Mm-hmm. And then you had a little bit of drama in the down in the Queens with the New York Mets.
The crosstown rivals of the Yanks there had a little drama, but I would say it's over for now. Matt Harvey is now a Cincinnati Red.
And I believe I think it was Noah Syndergaard went down with an injury, so they lost him.
There's a lot of injuries that are starting to come about now. But this is the first month of baseball is out of the way, so players are,
weather's not been all that great.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors that get involved. But this is where teams are going to have to make adjustments in their farm system. I know our beloved Rumble Ponies have been sending people up left and right, which is awesome to see because, we get to see them every day down here, and then they finally get on the big show.
And sometimes it's like you see them here, and then the next week they're up in the majors.
Yeah, it's just one of the cool things about having minor league baseball in your hometowns, or if you get the chance to go see any minor league players. The players today are the future stars of tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
I think I heard that sometime. But either way, baseball is in full bloom. It's a great thing if you're a Yankees fan, but we want to know what you think. Hashtag ODPH. Let us know. What's your thoughts on the current baseball situation? We want to know. We're going to take a quick break, close the show out. When we come back, you're listening to the ODPH.
Hey, I'm Mike Pappy from Rye Bread, and you're listening to the ODPH.
Coming back for the final segment on this week's ODPH, and we got to kick that off with the local minute. Pad, what you got?
Little bit of Rumble Ponies news. As we record, they are playing Game 1 of a doubleheader at the Portland Sea Dogs. No score there from what I can tell. And then this whole weekend, they are out of town at Portland playing the aforementioned Sea Dogs. So keep up on those stats at their various social media sites. As always, go Ponies. Looking at the standings, they slipped a little bit. They slipped into 4th place. They're 14-15 and 5 games out. Still early in the season, though. Still plenty of time to make it up.
Absolutely. For more information, check bingrp.com.
Yep.
So now we got to go into our rounding the bases, and you can call this a 2-run double here because Pat and I are going to make this very quick, but meaningful nevertheless because that's what we do here on the ODPH. And my local is good, or not my local, but my rounding the bases rather, is more like rounding the hockey rink.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is playoff hockey time. And like I've said previously before, it does pain me that my beloved New York Rangers are not in the playoffs, but there's still great hockey going on.
This is true.
And dare I say, the shock of all shocks for me, Washington beat Pittsburgh.
They got the monkey off their back. They got over the hill. They climbed the wall. Whatever, metaphor you want to use, they did it.
I about lost my mind. I'm not going to lie. Because, like we said, with LeBron having Toronto's number, Crosby has had Washington's.
It's like Crosby's had Washington's DNA and blood type at this point.
It is crazy because they find a way to pull it off every year.
Well, and what was that? It was Monday night they were playing, and I got the notification that it was going into overtime, and you just couldn't believe it. You're like, if Washington blows this.
If they blew that and it was going to go, yeah, it was done. There was no chance. They needed to close that out because if it went to a Game 7, forget about
Pittsburgh in Game 7,
yeah, forget about it. There was not going to be any chance whatsoever. I'm sorry, in my opinion, it was going to be as quick of a lock as you could make it. Because Game 7s are always crazy, so you never know. But I will go to a team that if they came back and tied it, going with that much momentum, forget about it.
Say it's as a person once said, the 2 greatest words in all of sports: Game 7.
Oh, absolutely. But Washington dodged that bullet. I will tell you that.
Yeah.
And Ovechkin is now in the finals of the Eastern Conference. and they got to go against Tampa Bay. That's going to be a fun series to watch.
It's going to be a fight.
It's going to be a fight because I will tell you this. Tampa is no slouch or nothing to sleep on either way, because they will find a way to show up, and they'll be there. Holtby's going to have a tough time defending the Lightning.
Yeah. We'll say Ovechkin's going to be playing out of his mind because he's finally over Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, and you just think about it, too. The Lightning, they've got Steven Stamkos. He's going to show up ready to go. JT Miller. I mean, it's almost looking like the Rangers are down there. The former Rangers are there.
Yep.
And it's bittersweet for me because it's a lot of the guys that I saw in Madison Square Garden play. So now it's going to be kind of one of those really fun things to watch for me. And I mean, I am rooting for the Lightning to win. I mean, I don't have anything against Washington per se because, like I said before, as long as anybody from Pittsburgh or anybody but the Penguins, I'm rooting for.
Oh yeah.
But I do like the Lightning in this. I'm going to take them in 6. And then tonight, as we record, it is Game 7 in the Winnipeg Jets and Nashville Predators series.
Ooh.
And it's at home for the Preds. I am taking them.
Yeah.
Game 7 is crazy, but they guarantee they're going to win in Game 6, and now they push it to 7. Smashville is going to be rocking. If you want to see a loud stadium, watch footage tonight if you can watch it, depending on where you're watching in the world, because we are on multiple countries. But if you get a chance to watch, Nashville is going to come, and they're going to be going to end the series very quickly.
Remind me, what do they? I know Detroit throws the octopus on the ice. What do they throw on the ice down there? Is it some
catfish?
Sort of catfish? There's going to be a lot of catfish thrown on that ice tonight.
That whole is
like security at the door is not going to be looking for its usual personables they're usually looking for at the door. They're going to be looking for catfish.
No, they're going to be gunning to finish this quick, and if they can jump out to a quick lead. I think if it goes to like no team has scored in the third period, I think Winnipeg is going to maybe have a better advantage.
I put it to you this way. I don't usually watch playoff hockey if the Rangers aren't in it. If this game goes to like no score in the third and I get a notification about it, I'm turning the game on.
I think I'm just going to watch it regardless because it's the Cup. I mean, now
this is true.
It is. I mean, like I say, it's just bittersweet because the Rangers aren't in it, but it's still a lot of fun stories going on. And the winner of this has to fight the Cinderella of all teams.
Yep.
The Vegas Golden Knights are still in it.
Which is insane.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah.
I mean, for an expansion team to get this far, and they are a great team to watch, fundamentally sound. Fleury is going bananas now. I think because he was written off, and now he's got something to play for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for them, it would be crazy if they win this. If they win the whole thing. I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible by any means, but I think that anything could happen. And if Vegas keeps playing like how they're playing,
don't write them off.
It's going to be something crazy to watch. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And what else can you really say about Vegas that hasn't already been said? They're going to have a tough test, though. I do like, if it's Nashville in this, I do like Nashville to beat Vegas. If it's Vegas and Winnipeg, I'm taking Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Vegas.
I'm in the same boat.
I'm taking Tampa regardless, but let us know what you think. Hashtag ODPH, because that's the Hockey Minute. And let's go Rangers. Pad, what do you got to close the show out with?
So this, to me, other than the Diaz-GSP fight, was the thing I laughed at most this week. Article came out from Peter Gammons, who writes for The Atlantic, he was doing a story about Ichiro Suzuki, and they were talking about the 2017 spring training season. And he was sitting there, and he was sitting in the locker room, and he got a text message from a number he didn't recognize. And he brought it up with some of the coaches, and the coaches go, "Oh, who's it from?" And he was reading through the message, and the message was from a guy who said he got his number via Alex Rodriguez, and he wanted to meet up with him about his stretching regimen, which I've seen Ichiro's stretching regimen. I went to see him play one year in the stadium when he was at New York, and then also there was a spring training game where they came back early and they played the West Point Golden Knights baseball team. Down in the military academy. So it was more up close and personal than what you're used to for a typical major league stadium. Having seen his stretching regimen firsthand in person, it is absurd. Go look up video. Your body will hurt just watching it. It's something else. But so they go, well, "Who's it from?" And he reads through it, and at the bottom he goes, "Some guy named Tom Brady." Who the F is Tom Brady? So I was just reading this article laughing hysterically that, Ichiro doesn't know who Tom Brady is, but then I thought about it. I'm like, well, football's not exactly on his radar. It's baseball 24/7, 365 for that guy.
That is true, and I'm sure for Tom Brady to get that regimen, I mean, he wants to do anything to keep extending that career.
I'm saying Ichiro, like we said before, is like 44, 45 and still playing.
And he can still go. I mean,
he hit a home run earlier this year.
Yeah, I mean, how crazy?
It's insane. It's the only player that I can remember playing at this level at that age was within the last decade, Omar Vizquel, who was playing shortstop at like 45.
It's an insane thing, but that's why we love it. And that's why it's the sports world we watch.
Yep.
Folks, that's all we have for this week. Make sure to hit us up on the website, OchoDuroParlayHour.com, for more information. Check out those blogs. I know Rolling Those Dice has been very, very active this week, so make sure to read and interact with Daniel John on Twitter. And for us, for Padawan J,
Thank you.
I'm your host, Ken M. Watch some hockey because it's the Cup. Thank you for listening to another edition of the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. See you next time.